Okay, so this is a preview of Monitor and a little bit of the process as to how we're doing it. Monitor is my new comic book about a future where there's no privacy and everyone has implants embedded in their bodies so that the government can track everything. It's basically a black and white comic. The whole idea is that it's black and white with some blue tinting and some blue outlines. Uh, so like the sky is blue and the windows are sometimes blue. There's some blue borders and some people have some blue backlighting. But one of the things that we're doing to make this comic have a lot of texture is we're adding different different backgrounds and different textures to give the environment some richness. So this is usually going on to the walls and the buildings and the streets, and I'm going to show you how I do that. Because the line artist, she's from Georgia, her name's Elisabeth. She's very talented. Her backgrounds are very plain, very flat, and so we're using these textures to give it some grain and some depth, and to make the pages more dynamic, and so that your eye stays on the page for longer. So we'll look at the road really quick. This is an important one. Couple key things about adding the textures are the opacity and the blend mode. So the blend mode, you got to play around with it. Oftentimes I use multiply. That seems to make a nice effect, but you just got to play around with the different blend modes to see which one works best to get the texture you want. You don't want these textures to be too apparent. They need to be subtle, and you've also got to stretch them so that the perspective makes sense. So I'm just using the command or option keys to add some perspective so it looks like it's going off into the distance. And then the other thing is sometimes you don't want the opacity at 100%. Sometimes you want a much lighter opacity. So I'm using images either from my personal texture library or I'm downloading textures from the internet from freebie sites. My favorite is called Media Militia. I'm going to show you this wall. It adds a lot of character to the background of this page, but it's not complicated. I'm not going in and adding each individual window or each individual column or anything. This is a square that's from Media Militia, and the colorist just added an entire block to fill the background. So very simple, very quick, easy to do, but adds a lot of character to this page and gives a lot of dynamic action in the background.